Yeah, that environment was a healing environment.
More than you know, because I had moved in August. So the following August was when, like, we reached August, then now I look for a place and I move out.
Mm-hmm.
So the month ends. 2 days after that end month, I'm diagnosed with cancer. So where am I going? They're like, you can't go.
Okay, I'm wondering why I'm caring and I already know this story. But this is just insane. Okay, you spend a year with them and you're supposed to leave. So let's then talk about now this, I don't even want to call it a transition into cancer, but how did you find out?
So, a friend of mine,
and how old are you at this time?
Mid-30s. So a friend of mine, we're a colleague. There's a time, it was in December of 2004. There was an article in the newspaper about cancer and the signs and what. And she's like, Ebu, I want to go and get checked. And she said, you see, we go. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, oh, I'm scared, I think, and I need you to come with me. So I decided, let me go with her. And she made an appointment somewhere. She went, and because I was there, the doctor who was I don't even remember who he was, but he tells me, well, since you're here, I can also check you. So, okay. So I go in and he checks me. And one of the things that they do, that you can do to check, is to see if you're like, if I'm trying to think of a clinical way of putting it, but basically if you have any fluid coming out of your nipple. And when he checked, I had some, but I had just weaned my baby. So he said, oh, this is probably milk. But what you can do, go, once you dry, maybe like in about 6 months, you can come back and I'll just check again. So it's like, okay, but went out of my head. Then.
And did your friend come out okay?
My friend was fine. Okay. She's still fine. She just wanted, like, let's just go and check. So about mid the following year, I'm in the shower and I felt a lump. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's hormones, I don't know. But anyway, life moves on. A month later, it's still there. So I started thinking,
And when you say a lump, is it big? Is it small?
It's big. It felt like an egg.
Whoa, that size.
I actually don't know how I never noticed it. And I just chanced on it, And by the following month, it hadn't changed. It was still there. So I thought, I'm now alone. If it turns out to be something serious and I didn't do anything about it and I die, I'll really kick myself because of the kids. So perhaps I go get it checked. I'm sure it's something that they can give me a pill, it dissolves. I never thought cancer.
Okay, can I ask, the lump, can it be the size of a pea?
It can be the size of a pea.
Okay, so it can be that small all the way to an egg and even bigger.
Yeah.
You're finding out when it's the size of an egg. Okay.
So, I made an appointment to go and do a mammogram. So I did the mammogram. They checked the results. I don't know if they were lying, but anyway, they checked the results. They say, oh, yeah, it's big, so it has to come out, but it doesn't look like anything. If it was cancer, it would be, now those terms I didn't know at the time. It should look how, but since it will need to come out, you need to go and see an oncologist. First time I'd heard that word.
Oncologist, yeah.
Do you know of one? I said, no. I said, oh, there's one just over there. So you can take the results to him, he'll tell you whatever. So I made an appointment. And I went, and he said, he looked at them. He also told me, it doesn't look like anything serious, but because it's large, it has to come out. So, but before we remove it, just in case we remove and then find there's something, why don't you go and do a test? It's a biopsy, and then I'll come with the results. Then now we can make a full decision on that. Says, okay. And all this time, me, I'm very cool.
What's a biopsy?
A biopsy, in this case, it's what they call a fine needle aspiration. So they stick a needle into the lump, and they pull out tissue. Then they go and test that tissue for any abnormality. So I made an appointment. I went, I did that. In fact, I went with my pal again. And we went, and they tell you lie on the table, and she comes with this needle, and it's pretty thick because it has a
sucking,
and then it has a cahook. So I'm just seeing her doing this, like her hand going up and down. I feel nothing. She hasn't given me anesthesia or anything. So I'm feeling nothing. That's a sign. But of course, I know nothing about cancer. So I'm like, okay, I guess there's nothing wrong. Otherwise, I'd be in pain. Then she finds another little lump on this other side, and she does the same thing, and this one excruciating. So I'm like, that might be the one, but it's little. So again, it can't be that. So she tells me, okay, put on your clothes again. She goes out. Unknown to me, she tells my friend, when she's coming for results, make sure you come with her. Because of course she already knows. The doctor already knows. So we go back to the office. Then they tell me, okay, it'll take about 2 days. But it was in the morning. So in the afternoon, they call me. Oh, you hadn't finished paying for your whatever. I say, oh, but we're on a company thing. They said, no, you need to come, maybe sign some papers so that we know the payment will be done. So I'm like, okay. So I think, it's just whatever. I don't even tell my pal. I just sneak. I didn't sneak out. I just left. I'm just going to sign and come back. So I go there. She asked me, oh, is your friend? I said, oh, I left her at the office. And she says, okay. And she gives me an envelope, a sealed envelope. And she tells me, okay, take this to the doctor. See, he's just here. Just go now. I'm like, okay. When I leave, she calls my friend. She tells her, come. So me, I go to the doctor. I sit. She's already called him. I sit. Then he calls me in. Takes the envelope. He opens. He reads. He starts saying, I'm sorry, Doris. I'm so sorry, Doris. I'm looking at him like, tell me, have you read it? I said, no. She said, it's positive for cancer. World crashed again. So I break down. I mean, I'm like, first, me, what does this mean? Like, my mind ran, how they say when you're about to die, things flash. I understand that thing now. Because a million thoughts flash through my mind. And then he tells me, okay, so we have to remove it. We have to cut off your breast. And I tell him now, this was on 2nd September. I tell him I was supposed to travel it was on a Friday. I tell him on Sunday, I'm leaving the country to go to we had a meeting in Tanzania. I ask him, do I go? Do I stop? What do we do? He says, oh no, you can go as long as you come back before the end of the month. So I'm like, okay. So I open the door to find my friend there. So she follows me to my car. I don't want to talk now. I need to absorb this and deal with it first. But she follows me to my car. She sits in there. So I'm crying. I'm like, I don't know. So then she tells me, so what are you going to do? You need to tell your people. Like, I don't know how I'll tell them. How will I tell my dad? He's not recovered from my mom's death.
Was your mom also as a result of cancer?
Yes. Which we didn't find out until after she died. Because some doctor decided he's not going to tell us. So, but then I thought, these guys will know. Definitely there's something wrong. So I decided, let me call them, because I don't want to have to keep, I tell this one, then I go and tell the other one. So let me call them, just tell them to come and meet me. We have a cup of tea. This time was she married yet? My elder sister, yeah, she had just gotten married. So I told her, the two sisters and their husbands, come, let's meet. So we met. I had no plan.
Same day?
Yeah, I had no plan. I just blurted it out. To them, I have cancer. So of course, shock. And we decided, okay, we won't tell Dad first. Let me first gather myself. Then now we can talk to him when I'm more sane. Otherwise, if I'm in pieces, even him now. So we went home, and he was visiting at the time. So he was between Nairobi and Shag. So whenever he was around, he'd stay with my sister. So went home. I went for my trip. I actually went and started looking for books because I needed to know what to expect. I wanted to get ready. Didn't find any except a medical book. So I'm reading it on the way, and on this side of the book, somebody's been diagnosed. As you get to this other chapter here, 5 chapters later, they're dead.
Yeah.
Every story was like that. And all of them were like, you need to do something. Like they started, and it was all like in story form, but it kind of told you the experience of the person. So I started thinking, hey, have I made a mistake? Should I have just said they start something? Or is it that I'm so sick that whether I spend another month with it or not, it'll make no difference. I'm still gonna die. And that's when now the thought of, it's so bad, I'm dying. So we went, I was with some colleagues, we stopped at a guest house, and we were served, I can't remember what the food was, but we were served watermelon. One of my colleagues says, because we were spitting out the seeds, and he's like, seeds are very good, they prevent cancer.
Yeah.
I was thinking, too late.
I mean, that's funny, but
That was
it's not
so funny. That was so funny.
I'm just glad that the story is being told by the person. Otherwise, it's too much.
Yeah, but I chose not to tell them because I didn't want to mess
the whole.
Yeah. So we'd have our meetings. I'm quiet. Usually I come with like red eyes and they don't know what's wrong. Are you okay? Yes. You know that thing we were saying. You're good.
Yeah.
Good. Then I go back to my room in the evening, and I spend the night in tears. But by the time I was finishing the week, we were supposed to be there for 10 days, but for 2 weeks, but we finished in 10 days. I decided, no, I need to come back and find out exactly what is going on. Like now ask questions. So when I came back, we sat with my sister, we said, okay, let's start with a pathologist.
So this first stage that you're just gone through is shock.
A shock.
Shock, and why me? And
I didn't,
what is...
I didn't ask why me. It was like, what is going on?
Okay,
like,
yes.
What's going to happen? And then now processing. And in fact, while we were in Tanzania, I wrote my will. Because I knew I was going to die. I mean, I decided it's so bad that he there was no hope. Even if he started the treatment immediately, nothing was going to change. So I wrote my will. I started now making my peace with God. If there's anything that is still whatever, let's sort it out. I'm coming. So when I came back to Nairobi, we agreed with my sister, let's first go to the pathologist and just ask now details.
Okay, pathologist being
now the lady who did the biopsy.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the ones who work in the lab and do all the samples and whatever. So when I got back, we made an appointment, then we went to see her.